delicious. Hey kiddos, welcome back to my YouTube channel where today we are doing something very special. Today, January 22nd, 2023 is my character Lavender's birthday. Lavender is a character that I made, obviously, exactly 1 year ago to belong in the Alice in Wonderland universe, because I created Lavender with a dear friend of mine at Suddenly Campbell on TikTok. Go check them out. They are incredible. I literally asked them, I was like, can I use these videos to show off one of my original characters? And they were like, yes. And I'm like, yes. So January 22nd, 2022, Lavender came to be, and I have loved her ever since. And since it has been exactly 1 year since her creation, I thought that I would give you guys a very special project that I've been working on for about 6 months. I've decided to make Lavender my official character. An official character is similar to Thomas Sanders having the Sandersides, Liza Koshy having Jet, Colleen Ballinger having Miranda Sings. They're all official characters that they are very well known for having. A lot of big content creators will have official characters if they make comedy videos or skits or things like that. So Lavender is going to become my official character because she is my greatest creation and I love her. In celebration of her birthday, I am finally going to be telling her full backstory. January 22nd, 2022, I premiered this video which shows her having a crown, and like there's obviously some kind of lore behind her, but I never talked about it, mainly because I didn't really have a full story written by that time. And then I brought her back recently. I brought her back to TikTok and I was like, you know what? She needs a backstory since she's all different. Like her hair is different, her clothes are different and fully customized. I was like, she needs a full backstory. So I have been working on it for several months now, and I am finally ready to share it with you guys. But don't worry, while I am telling you this full backstory, I am also going to be getting into character because obviously she's gonna have some very special TikToks premiere on her birthday. So I have to put the makeup on. I've got you on your toes, don't I? And as for the makeup portion, I'm not really gonna be focused on the instruction part of it, so you're kind of on your own on that one. But it's mainly so I can show you how I get into costume, but also talking about my character. Anyway, let's just jump right into this very special video. Happy birthday, Lavender! I'm gonna tell you all of the products that I'm going to be using in this video now because like I said, I'm not really gonna be focused on the instructions, so I will just show you what I'm using. My foundation routine is the exact same as it has been for a while. I just use this pink e.l.f. primer. Let's fix that, there we go. This pink e.l.f. primer here. This Maybelline Superstay foundation, it's activewear and it's pretty good. This e.l.f. concealer, and then e.l.f. setting powder. I use a lot of e.l.f. products. For my eyes, I use this Hershey Kisses special dark palette that I got in New York at the Hershey factory. Oh, it's Be Real time. I'll do that later. I'm gonna be real way later. But this palette is by Glamlight and it's really nice and I use it for almost all of my purple makeup looks. I also use this very used CC Beauty face paint palette for my eyeliner. Don't judge me, it works and that stuff never moves. This is, I'm gonna try and pronounce this correctly. I'm sorry if I butcher it. It's Il Maquillage mascara that I got in an Ipsy bag. Again, you get the cheap stuff and as long as it works, that's what matters. And then on the inner corner, I use this Estate highlighter. You can't see it. Hold on. There we go. I use this Estate highlighter. For blush, I use this Pacifica palette. It is a dual palette, so it has the blush and the highlight in it. And then for smaller details, I have this little case that says Makeup is my art on it. And when you open it, there's a bunch of gel liners in it. I use these to draw pictures on my face. And then for the lipstick, I'm gonna be using this Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink pink lipstick. And then to set it all, I have this e.l.f. setting spray. If you notice the lighting change, it's because I have a mirror over here that's LED, and yeah, so ignore that. Alright kiddos, let's get into the story time. Gather around children, and today I'm going to be telling you the story of Lavender Cosmicson. The year is 1870. Inside the kingdom of Amethyst, ruled by Queen Violet and King Helio. Fun fact, King Helio is named after Heliotropium, a gorgeous purple flower. You catch the pattern yet? The king and queen have 4 kids. Their youngest twins, Lilac and Orchid, their middle son, Mauve, and their oldest, Lavender. The kingdom sits right outside of Wonderland, bordered off in order to avoid all of the free spirit and curiosity as ordered by Queen Violet. Lavender is in line for the queen's throne, not for several months, but Queen Violet is very big on etiquette, so Lavender has been training since she became 10 years old. Lavender has a pretty good relationship with her brother Mauve and an average sibling relationship with the twins. A little bit of fighting here and there, but since Lavender is the oldest, she tends to be their mother away from their actual mother. Lavender is now 18 years old and is merely days away from getting the amethyst crown. One day, she is doing training in the throne room. As she sits on her mother's throne, her mother continuously nitpicks every little thing that Lavender is doing wrong. She's not sitting right, her back is too slouched, etc., etc. But Lavender takes all of it, just like she has been since she was very young. Suddenly, the grand doors to the throne room just swing open, and in come Lilac and Orchid. They seem to be playing a game of tag, but Lilac appears to be holding a big tub of frosting. Her mother asks what they are doing, and they said that they are playing cake tag with the frosting they were using for Lavender's coronation cake. And her mother does absolutely nothing to stop it. As upset as she is by her mother not caring, she just goes back to taking all the orders and doing what she does best, ignoring her siblings. But in the blink of an eye, Lilac throws a glob of frosting at Orchid, but she misses and it lands right on Lavender. While her mother simply just tells them to go put the frosting back, Lavender goes back into older sister/mother mode. She gets up and tells her sisters in a very stern voice, "Go tell Lacey that I need a new dress, put the frosting back, and apologize." The twins say they are sorry and they run to go find Lacey, their royal dress designer. Lavender turns back to her mother, who has a face of disbelief because she is just surprised at how Lavender handled her sisters. Then she proceeds to ask who Lacey was, and this starts a huge argument between Lavender and her mother. Lavender thinks that her mother is too focused on ruling the kingdom and not caring about anyone else's feelings. Her evidence of this was the fact that her mother didn't even know who Lacey was, even though she had been working with the kingdom for several years. She says all of this while her mother just continues to point out everything that she is doing wrong and how Lavender is not ready to rule the Amethyst Kingdom. The argument goes on for around 15 minutes until Lavender decides to end it and says, "I don't even want to be queen because I don't want to be like you." And then she storms out of the throne room, her mother learning absolutely nothing from the argument that they just had. Afterwards, Lavender goes back to her room, trying to cool off from what just happened. She decides to do one of her favorite stress relievers and just stare out her window. She can see the entrance to Wonderland from her window. Lavender was always curious what goes on in Wonderland because she was never allowed to go there when she was younger. All the bright colors coming from Wonderland just fascinate her because all she sees in her everyday life is purple, which, no complaining, but you get the idea. She turns around to see her sword next to her dresser. She loves sword fighting. She always wanted to become a knight and protect people, not just sit on a throne all day. She decided to ditch the queen training and head out to the field where she can go practice. As she gets dressed into her travel outfit, aka not a royal gown because she always hated dresses, she hears a knock at her door. Her father, King Helio, opens up and just waltzes right in. He wants to talk to Lavender about the little spat she just had with her mother, but she is in no mood to talk about it. She storms right past her father and heads outside. As she is battling it out with the scarecrow outside, she hears a couple of footsteps behind her. In the blink of an eye, she swings around, pointing the sword towards the threat, only to see it is Julian, the royal swordsman, aka the man who trained Lavender on her sword skills. He laughs at how impressed he is by Lavender's speed and offers to talk. She agrees since Julian is really the only one she truly trusts. They sit in the middle of the field of daisies, and Lavender just starts venting about what just happened with her mother in the throne room. She admits that she doesn't want to become queen and would rather go explore Wonderland and other amazing places that aren't the kingdom she's been stuck in her whole life. For years and years, the queen has blocked off Wonderland because it didn't fit in with the kingdom's moral. She claims that they have been separated for hundreds and hundreds of years before. Even that the people of Wonderland tried to raid the kingdom to take their sacred purple core. The purple core is basically the source of all magic. It is so powerful that it is on the same level as the elements: water, fire, earth, air, and magic, which is the purple core. Source of all magic, you get it. The queen even claims that they tried to raid to get to Lavender, but she never told her why. As Lavender is expressing her frustration for her mother, she looks over at Julian to see he has a concerned and confused face. She asks him what is wrong, and he looks at her, takes a deep breath, and says, "Don't tell your mother I told you this, but that's not completely true." Lavender looks at him in confusion and hopes he would tell her more. She asks him what actually happens, but then they hear one of the twins scream from inside the castle. They both jump up and bolt inside. When they get inside, they see both of the twins hiding on top of the table inside of the grand hall. They ask what's wrong, and they say that they saw something run across the floor and into Lavender's room. Julian goes to check it out, but finds nothing. As things calm down, Julian tells Lavender to meet him in the stables at 7 p.m. She agrees and heads off to her room. Before she can reach her room, her brother Mauve just appears next to her and startles her. He says that he thinks what scared the girls was a mouse, but it was all white and it looked like it was wearing a blue vest. Lavender just laughs and says he has an interesting imagination and ruffles his hair and heads into her room. As she's putting her armor away, she notices something in the corner of her room. It caught the light just perfectly, so obviously it was super shiny. She goes to check it out only to find a small gold chain. She holds it up to find a small clock attached to it. It was a gold pocket watch. Dun dun dun. The time is now 7 p.m. and Lavender gets into riding gear and heads out to the stables to meet with Julian. She walks in to find her horse Thistle waiting for her. As she's tending to Thistle, Julian enters the stable. As he enters, Lavender notices he is holding a small book. He explains that the book is actually a sketchbook of the previous royal artist, the person who sketches out all the really important events involving the kingdom. Lavender looks at the pictures while Julian tells her the origin story that is actually true. Many years before Lavender was even born, the kingdom of Amethyst and Wonderland were one nation, not separated. Violet was about to become queen at this time, and she always despised the people of Wonderland. They never respected her authority and only wanted to be carefree and spontaneous, which apparently didn't fit Violet's personality. So even since she was younger, she always wanted to be proper and straightforward and literally picture perfect when you cannot do that. One day, a Wonderland resident with a large hat wandered into the chamber where the core was kept by complete accident. The Amethyst guards found him and arrested him because they thought he was trying to steal the magic core. The entire kingdom was shaken, but Violet still wanted her coronation to happen, so they just brushed it off. At Queen Violet's coronation, the man with the large hat actually broke out of prison and just showed up in the throne room during the coronation. He tried to explain how he was innocent, but Violet was so upset by him interrupting her special day, she ordered the guards to arrest him again. Somehow he escaped and ran into the Wonderland woods, never to be seen by the kingdom again. Queen Violet then decided to separate all of Wonderland and the Kingdom of Amethyst altogether. Since that day, the kingdom has been under lock and key in order to avoid any piece of Wonderland from getting in. The pictures that Lavender was looking at perfectly depicted what Julian was saying, nothing her mother had claimed. While she is staring at the drawings, Julian noticed the gold pocket watch in her pocket. He asks what that is, and she explains she found it in her room after the twins got scared by a mystery rodent. He looks at her right in the eye and says, "Lavender, that's from Wonderland." After finding out about everything her mother lied to her about, she runs into the throne room the very next day. Her mother thinks she is just late for training again, but quickly notices Lavender's angry expression. Lavender shows her mother the photos and expresses how deeply offended and disappointed she is by the fact that her mother has convinced her that Wonderland was the bad side this whole time. And her mother is speechless, assuming it's because Lavender somehow found out all of this. Lavender then states that she refuses to believe that Wonderland did anything wrong, and that all she wants is to see more of this world besides this kingdom. And then she finds out that the reason that she has been stuck here is because of her mother hiding her own insecurities. Queen Violet's response: "I only want you to rule with dignity, not this overly creative attitude you developed. You rule with a king, and you keep things in order." Lavender turns around and begins walking to the door. Her mother then yells, "I expect you to be dressed and ready for the coronation tomorrow." Lavender whips her head around. The coronation wasn't supposed to be for another 3 days. She realizes that her mother has moved the coronation closer in order to get Lavender to the crown sooner, and she will then be tied to this kingdom and never be able to leave forever. Now it is the next day, which is now coronation day. This is when Lavender finally decides enough is enough. She wants to choose her own adventure. not be stuck sitting on a throne for the rest of her days waiting for a man to come by and join her at the top. Her ideal life is to live on the edge, exploring new places and going on daring adventures every single day. It's almost time to go, and she comes up with a plan. Her coronation gown has a large cape attached to it. This is important, trust me. She enters the throne room wrapped in this cape, covering her whole outfit. As she gets to the front, she bows for the crown, and right before the crown reaches her head, she grabs it and turns around to face the crowd. She looks at the many shocked faces and explains that this is not the life she wants. Life is about being creative, spontaneous, and carefree, not sitting on a chair watching the world go by. She looks at her mother, who is giving her the worst death stare. Lavender raises the crown in the air and says, "I choose to live my life," and then throws it across the room. She makes a break for the door, ripping off her cape, revealing that she is in fact not wearing her coronation gown, but an adventurer's outfit. Tailcoat, boots, and her very special sword. Lavender makes it to the stable where Thistle is waiting with her travel bag full of survival tools, her bow and arrows, and the pocket watch. As she jumps on his back, she hears a voice from behind the wall. It was Julian. He runs up to her and hands her a necklace, a clear, shiny crystal wrapped in silver wire. He explained that she has to promise she will never take the necklace off. It was very special to him and her. She promises and says goodbye, as she hears the crowd surrounding the stable door, ready to go catch her. She tells Thistle to go. They take off straight towards Wonderland. After surviving in Wonderland alone for about 2 weeks, she eventually meets the White Rabbit, the Dormouse, the Cheshire Cat, the Caterpillar, the March Hare, and the Mad Hatter. After making herself at home in Wonderland, she eventually meets Alice, and the rest is history. However, my friends, that is not the end of the story. After living in Wonderland for 4 months, going on adventures with her friends, and her best friend, Alice, wink wink, Lavender ends up going to the border of Wonderland and looking upon her previous home. While looking at the Amethyst Kingdom, showing Alice what it looks like, a bright pillar of purple light shines from the observatory straight into the air. Lavender recognizes it as amethyst magic. Before she can figure out what's happening, her necklace starts to glow a bright royal purple. Lavender clutches her chest and her necklace. Whatever was happening, it was affecting her, causing her a lot of pain right in her heart. It practically knocks the wind out of her. Alice comes to her aid and asks what happened. Lavender, with very little breath, says, "I don't know, but it can't be good." And that, my friends, is where I am leaving this story. I know I left y'all on a cliffhanger, but I don't know, maybe I'll turn this into a series. Who knows? Maybe I can start making my own Lavender series. I mean, you'll hear more of the story eventually, I promise that. And now we are in full makeup, and I will be putting on the wig for the TikTok videos, so if you want to see the fancy schmancy wig on my head, go check those out, because those are out right now in celebration for Lavender's birthday. I worked really hard on this story, and I am trying to put it out into videos as best I can with the budget that I have, and by budget I mean none. Thank you, kiddos, for watching, and hopefully I will be able to turn this into something more. And yes, this is my original idea. I own the rights to it, so don't try anything. But Netflix, hey, hit me up. Let's make a TV show. Wink. Thank you, kiddos, again so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed hearing Lavender's backstory for the first time. Don't forget to check out my podcast, Thinking Like a Taurus. It'll be here on YouTube, and I'm working on getting more episodes on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. That might take a bit longer, but you can still watch them here on YouTube, so look out for the next episode. If you don't want to wait for my next YouTube video to see more content, I also post on Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat, all at Uni Cosplays, so go check me out. I post a lot of cosplay videos and pictures on there, and then Snapchat is going to be used for more behind the scenes. We are hitting the end of the Gregory era on my TikTok, and we are headed into the Lavender era. I'm so excited. Remember, kids, drink your water, eat your meals, get some good sleep, and I will see you in the next video, okay? Take care of yourselves. I love you!